Okay. My name is Seanna, and I'm doing my speech on how to save the bees. So, did you know that bees are essential to mankind? Bees play a vital role in our everyday life in ways that many of you would never know. Like many other species, the bees play a vital role in keeping the balance between other species and their environment. They are the main reason why you and I get to eat what we do every single day. Without bees, many plants wouldn't be able to be pollinated. These plants can range from everyday plants such as fruits, vegetables, and plants that are used for livestock. In recent years, bee populations around the world have been decreasing in an alarming rate. So, what does this mean for me and you, and what can we do to help stop the current epidemic? So, what do you guys think why bees are so important to humans?
Honey.
Honey.
Pollen.
Yeah, 'cause there's honey, there's pollen. They also kill shit.
Samantha.
Okay, well, so bees are the largest species of pollinators in the world, and for that reason, they are able to help humans have a healthy diet of fruits and vegetables. So there is about 20,000 different species of bees in the world, but globally there are more honeybees than other types of bees. Oh. So they are the most important pollinator to all the food crops. It is estimated that 1/3 of the food that we consume each day relies on pollination by these bees. So like if you think about it, what if like take about 1/3 of the food that you eat every day, and that would be taken away if we didn't have bees. They are also responsible for $30 billion of crops a year, which is a lot. And if you think about it, that's a lot of food, and that could literally be taken away in a blink of an eye if bees start to become extinct. Even if we could survive, our diet would be completely different because most of the food that we eat is based off of what they pollinate for us. Bees aren't just important for humans, but they're also important for all the other functioning ecosystems. So as we already know, they allow all the plants to reproduce through pollination, and these plants can contribute to the food systems that feed the animals. If the food source for these animals starts to be taken away, the food chain will start to suffer and diminish. They are also vital in keeping our earth green and pretty much like healthy. So without them, almost all the tree species would start to die off, and that would result in not being able to sustain an atmosphere for life on Earth. So we see that the bees are so important to human life, but why exactly does this pose a threat to humankind? And 90% of our world's nutrition relies on the pollinators. So like even if just like a small percentage of the bees start to disappear, then 80% of our agriculture system will start to collapse, which is a big amount. Without bees, there would be no plants, which means no food production for us. And also that would limit the food production for livestock, which will, it will start to diminish their food. So many species of plants would start to die, resulting in a change in Earth's atmosphere. So this would cause the ecosystem as a whole to become extremely dry. And if we have a dry ecosystem, then that means plants will start to die too. So not only is our food dying faster, but the food for the livestock is starting to die. So then they don't have food, which just means they're going to start to die as well. So the extinction of bees will pose many threats for humans. So let's see why they are at risk for extinction. So what do you guys think the biggest reason bees are at risk?
Most people
Kill them
when they see them.
Yeah, because they're like scared of them.
Yeah,
so
I'm
they
scared
swat
of
them.
bees. Yeah.
Okay, well, so there's many threats of them, like you said, like by humans, we kill them right away when we see them because we're scared of them.
Or like their nests. Humans always kill their nests when they see them.
True. So the bee population faces many things, but like the two things are habit loss and climate change, but the biggest threat is pesticides. So usually farmers will put pesticides on their crops, and it's like used to protect them from pests that harm their productivity. But while they're doing that, it can also harm the bees because the chemicals in it, once the bee becomes in contact with it, it will attack their nervous system, which will pretty much kill them instantly. But some of them do survive, so if they're lucky enough to survive, they become disoriented, and they'll usually forget where their hive is and where to go. So then that starts to develop the colony collapse disorder. And so some of the bees do end up making it back to the hive, and when they do make it back and they go inside of it, it will kill the whole entire hive because of the pesticide on the bee. So we can easily decrease all of these threats and help the bees from extinction. So simple things that we can do are stuff like having farmers stop using pesticides or stop using them around your house, in your gardens, because any plant or flower that they see, the bees are of course going to go and try to pollinate it. So if we're using pesticides, then that's just going to kill the bees faster. Making sure the plants that you buy from the store to put in your gardens are not pre-treated with pesticides, because most of them are, because they want them to live longer. Also planting bee-friendly plants in your garden, so mostly like flowers and stuff like that. And if you find a hive at your own home, it's smarter to call a bee farmer so they can like save the hive, and so all those bees don't die, because one of the biggest reasons that we are seeing a big decrease in bees is because people will see a beehive and they get freaked out, so then they kill the whole entire thing. And beehives have a lot of bees in them, so you're killing the whole colony of them instead of just killing like 2 or 3. And also like an easier thing to do is just show support to local petitions and bills that propose like to ban harmful pesticides for bees that are used on crops. So bees are extremely vital to our everyday life. They play a major role in all ecosystems across the world. Without bees, many species of plants, animals, and insects across the world would die off. The extinction of bees would essentially cause a mass extinction of most life on Earth. As a society, we need to like realize the important role that they play, because many people don't know how important they are to mankind, and they just assume, well, killing a bee isn't going to hurt anything. And we need to do as much as possible to stop hive destruction and save the bees. If we do not start taking the extinction of bees more seriously, life as we know it is going to totally change. And Albert Einstein, one of the most famous scientists in the world, once said, if the bee disappeared off of Earth, man would only have 4 years left to live. Jeez. So let's take initiative and begin to be more conscious about bees and help save the bees. Any questions?
So, can I go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, is there like only a certain type of bees that need to be saved, or is it like all bees, like all the?
Well, like all the bees do pollinate like different types of things, but like honeybees are the ones that like pollinate all the food crops that we eat, and they like pollinate like the flowers and like stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So they're like the most important ones. Like if there was like a wasp, like I mean those are big, and I could see like if you wanted to like kill it, mm-hmm. but they're like that's okay because they're not as important as honeybees are to the food crops.
Cool.
How do they know where to pollinate?
So this is a really cool thing. So if one bee goes out and pollinates, they'll like go back to the hive, and what they'll do is like they'll wiggle like their little like stinger. It's like a little dance that they do, and they'll wiggle it in the direction of like the pollination place that they just came from. So there might be like a bigger group of things to pollinate in that area, so they'll like wiggle and like do like a little like dance, and they'll do it in the direction so the other bees know where to go and pollinate.
Interesting.
Do you like the Bee Movie?
It's a good movie. I think honestly the bee movie kind of like tells like people how important bees are to mankind too, because like the bee like pretty much tells them like, if you kill us then like you're gonna
Would
stop
you
the
say it's
production of
underrated?
Honestly, yeah, because not a lot of people watch it, and if they did watch it, they would understand it more, and they would probably stop killing bees more, and they wouldn't be as afraid of them.
So why would it only take 4 years for humans to die if bees die?
So like if you really think about it, the bees pollinate everything that we eat. So like I said, like 1/3 of the food we eat every day is what they pollinate. So if you take that away, then that's already 1/3 of what we eat, and they're gonna stop pollinating. So all the food is gonna start to die. All the food crops are gonna start to die, and then if the food crops start to die, then there's no food to feed the livestock.
So it's just like a huge chain reaction.
So then if the livestock start to die, then we're gonna have like
Then
no
we-
meats
we're
to
not
eat.
gonna- Makes sense.
Any other questions?
No.
Good job.
Thank you guys.